Hi there. You're watching Pop Culture Warrior. This is the way.
Hi there. It's your second favorite DP right here, okay? No, that's Deadpool, you silly little Hufflepuff. Anyways, I'm gonna need you to shut up that pretty little mouth of yours and pay attention because the show's about to start, alright? And, I don't know about you, but I know who's my vote for sexiest ex-soldier turned pop culture show host. Alright, enough foreplay. Let's get on with the show.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
everybody. Welcome, one and all. Today is October 3rd, 2023. This is episode 147 of Pop Culture Warrior. It's the show where I stay up to date on all the ins and outs of what's happening in pop culture so you don't have to. I am CQ, as the little pop culture bubbles pops up and says. And I have some news for you guys. Some news we're going to start out with. Tonight, joining me is what we can only say now is the official co-host moving forward of Pop Culture Warrior. Ladies and gentlemen, the man in the bubble, the Marine with the mouth, Mad Mike. Welcome to the show. Yay. So the official, well, I mean, you got to provide the blood sample. We need your social.
Semen sample? Which
semen
is weird.
sample.
I don't know why you need that.
your bank account, your mother's maiden name, couple of other things.
Frontal pic.
Yes.
It's kind of weird.
Yes, we need a full body, tastefully nude, full body.
Preferably on a bearskin rug.
Bearskin rug, yes.
I don't have.
Correct. Yes. And man, there's something else I was gonna say. That's just going way too far with it. But anyway, so everyone, Mad Mike will be the official co-host of Pop Culture Warrior moving forward. Angry Elf, who is, God bless him, we love him. He is going to be kind of like our rotating pinch hitter. You know, he's our guy who's gonna step in when Mike's down with the sickness, when he's getting down with the sickness, and or anything like that.
Utility man, as they call him in baseball.
Yes. He's gonna be like our fullback. You know, he's a little of this, a little of that. Angry Elf says he might be the full-time co-host, but I'm still the best co-host. Fighting words. I still want to do like one night.
Nobody said I'm the best.
No one said he's the best. We just said he's the new co-host, the current co-host.
Yeah,
the official
only
co-host.
one that submitted the pics. Let's just say that.
Yes, he was quick, man. He had them in his phone. It was weird because I asked for them and they came in immediately.
Portfolio and they were like 4K. Like, I don't know.
Weird, man. Weird.
Readily available.
Scott says this warrants a giveaway. Mike, are you giving away something? You want to? Welcome to the show. You want to do a giveaway of one of your things?
Here, I'll give you some bad luck.
Yeah, for those that know, Mr. Mad Mike here is arguably, I've known you now 10 plus years, and I have to say, in all my life, in all my travels, having spent 2 years at Walter Reed Army Medical Center, where I saw guys who died and blown up and all these things, you had the worst luck of anyone I've ever met in my entire life.
And I was one of those guys. Well, I wasn't with you, but yeah, I was there. I've been there too. I've been blown up.
Yeah.
Shit just keeps rolling downhill.
When would you say? Let's get to know you here for a second. When would you say your bad luck started?
I don't know. At birth.
Okay. Wow. Do you have? I mean, there's so what happened? What's?
I'm trying to figure it out. And you know how they have like ancestry? I'm gonna have like bad luck ancestry. Like trying to figure this out. I think I don't know. It's like killed a bunch of Native Americans after we killed a bunch. Like I don't know.
You were the guy that gave the smallpox blankets.
Yeah, like here's a blanket, guys. You're so cold.
Your great grandfather was the polio guy. I was gonna say like if it's almost as if like it's a mutant power with you. Like you know you what is it like Wanda Maximoff in the comics? She had like the hex power. Domino had like the good luck power. Your superpower would literally be bad luck, and I don't.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's like bad, but just bad enough. I guess I don't know how to describe it.
I remember the one time
like
you're
when
like,
someone does something good for me, I'm like, no, please do not do that. Like, oh, I'll buy this for you. Like, no, I'll just pay for it myself. What? Like, don't be a dick. No, you don't understand the repercussions of this action. It's not worth it.
I remember once you texted me
for my own stuff.
You texted me and you're like, this asshole at the supermarket was trying to buy my groceries. And I'm like, what? Yeah. Like they were trying to purchase your like to buy them from you? And you're like, no, pay. Like they were trying to pay for me. You got into a fight with this person. You're like, no.
Like, no. Like, I don't want to deal with this shit, dude. If I'm going to come outside, my car's going to be on fire.
A meteorite's going to just, and like a tiny one, right in the forehead, right between the eyes. Just this tiny little meteorite.
That's enough. It won't kill me. It'll just like
paralyze you,
like retarded or something.
Was that the same time too when you were like driving home and one of your wheels just left? It just like rolled off by itself.
Shortly after that. That's why I said, like, just let me pay for my own shit, guys. Do not pass it forward for Mike Larson.
Pass it around the Mad Mike. Pass it around
somebody else.
Oh man, that's funny.
Deal with it. But yeah, it's just little things like that. Just constantly.
We got the actual King Smith in there joining. Worst luck of anyone I know. There you go.
Well, yeah, like
multiple
today,
sources.
We got the perfect example today. So the AC went out. AC's out. You know, it's hot. It's like 90 degrees here. Guy's like, oh, we got to replace the fan. I was like, that's cool. We just redid that 2 months ago. And he's like, okay, yeah, it's not covered. I was like, that's cool because, you know, who has less than a 2-month warranty on something? So whatever. I paid them. And they're like, by the way, the person that makes the part, they got attacked by ransomware. So they might not be able to order it. Like, yeah. It's made in China too. Why are the Chinese attacking their own companies with ransomware, man?
I don't think
first
it was a
time
Chinese
it's ever
hack.
happened. First time in the history of AC parts, a company got hacked. It's because the freaking I bought the dang unit with the stupid part in it.
Oh God! Oh, I'm so sorry, but it makes me so happy.
This is a long list of things like that.
Oh man, we gotta start like a new segment where we do the weekly check-in. What bad luck thing happened to you this week? Oh man,
believe it. It's like,
oh man. Yes, the actual King Smith wants to remind us that he coined the phrase in 2013, Larson luck. So that was yes, that's specifies his level of bad luck. But anyway, moving right along. So glad you're joining the show full time. We everybody's had such nice things to say. And I told you this privately. I don't get it, but so many people had so many nice things to say about you. You know, I guess I'm just immune to your charm. I guess I don't know because I don't know. You're mildly annoying to me at best.
Just don't appreciate what I bring to the table.
I mean, I guess that's what it is. Anyway, we got all the news and headlines for you like we always do. And then tonight, as kind of a surprise interview, this isn't something we publicized. You guys are getting the skinny, the 411 here. It is pre-recorded. I had to do this. When did I do this? Was it yesterday or the day before? I don't know. One of these days, I sat down with the co-directors of the new horror film Deliver Us, and one of them's also one of the actors, but we don't interview actors because there's an actor strike going on. So there was 2 directors that I interviewed, and it's a great interview, man. We learned all about the movie and just kind of filmmaking, their inspirations and things, and really enjoyed talking to those guys. They're really 2 down-to-earth guys. Like, you wouldn't realize these are movie directors. They're just like 2 dudes just sitting down shooting the shit. And it was a good time. It was definitely a good time. So enjoy that interview later on tonight. What else? So first, we need to just check in because I know last week it was just announced the writer's strike was coming to an end, and oh, that's funny. Scott, just touching back on that last topic, Scott says, Mike, for your bad luck, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, CQ goes and makes you the official co-host. Your bad luck just keeps getting worse.
No, this is part of my bad luck.
This is his
not a privilege.
Pay penance.
It's his work. I'm gonna spend time with this guy every Tuesday night.
I gotta put in the effort now. So the writer strike, like I said, we checked in last week. We know that there was a tentative agreement on the table. It still technically hasn't been voted on, but everyone is saying like, yeah, this is what we wanted. So they're going to say yes. I think they vote in the next couple of days, but we're now getting more details of what that tentative deal looks like. So after 148 days of a work stoppage, the WGA accepted a new 3-year contract. This is what we were hearing rumors of, that it's a 3-year deal, which is significant in that, you know, the last deal they did was like in the 60s. So to accept the fact that like, yeah, we're going to have to come back to the table in 3 years, it's because, look, things are changing day to day, month to month, year to year. Things are changing in the industry. So this deal could be great in 3 years, or it could be completely useless depending on how things go. So the 3-year agreement includes significant wins in the main areas writers had fought for, which is compensation, length of employment, size of staffs, and control of artificial intelligence, matching or nearly equaling what they had sought out from the outset. So like where they came in, where the studios kind of came in, they really did kind of meet in the middle on this tentative deal. So the union had sought minimum increases in pay, future residual earnings from shows of between like 5 and 6%, depending on the position of the writer. The studios wanted to keep it below 2%. The compromise ended up being between like 3.5 and 5. So right there in the middle, which was good. The Guild also negotiated new residual payments based on the popularity of streaming shows. This was huge because it didn't matter if your shit was on Netflix and never got watched, or it didn't matter if it was Orange is the New Black, Stranger Things, like all these mega hits.
Exclusives, yeah.
Didn't matter the difference. These people were getting paid pennies. Pennies. The most eye-opening, and we talked about it before, was one of the leads on Orange is the New Black. She sold one of her residual checks from like every episode of one of the most popular series on TV, and her residual was like $12, which is crazy, criminal.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So yeah, so the writers will get bonuses for being part of the most popular shows on Netflix, Max, and other series, which was initially rejected by the studios. They said straight up no. So they won that line. The writers also got the requirement they sought after that shows intended to run at least 13 episodes will have at least 6 writers on staff, with the numbers shifting based on the number of episodes. So they did not give their desire for guaranteed staff on 6 on shows that had not yet been ordered to series, settling instead for a guaranteed 3. So initially they wanted 6. Like if you're going to, we're starting a show, you get 6 writers, and that's got to be, they ended up settling on 3. But that's, what was it, that there would be 6 at least if there was going to be a 13 episode series or more. They also got a guarantee that staffs on shows in initial development will be employed for at least 10 weeks, and that staffs on the shows that go to air will be employed for 3 weeks per episode. So again, one of the problems was the studios were doing these things called mini rooms, where they'd be like, oh, we're thinking of developing the show, and they bring in a bunch of writers for like a week or 2 weeks, pay them nothing, then release them and bring in other stories, and they go, hey, we have this idea, we just need you to retool it. And they would do that for a week or 2 and pay these guys nothing, and then bring in another series, and they would do these mini rooms. Jesus. Yeah, just to avoid having these guys as like, main writers and paying them big bucks. So now you get, you're a guaranteed, if you're working on a show, you get at least 10 weeks guaranteed. And then if it goes to series, you get 3 more weeks per episode on the show. So that's going to be huge. And obviously one of the biggest things, and I think somebody mentioned it, Patrick, I'm curious on how they handle posthumous deepfakes AI to compete contracted work when an actor passes in the middle of a production. That's great. That's a great question that goes into AI, which is a huge point of contention for this strike. Now, what you're talking about is from the actor side, right? How do they, they do the deep fake, they do, kind of the Paul Walker thing that they did, or, was it Moff Tarkin in Star Wars, whatever his name was. They brought back the actor from the dead. That is still up in the air because that's part of the actor strike. But from the writer strike side, when it comes to artificial intelligence, the writers got the regulation and control of the emerging technology they had sought under the contract. Raw AI-generated storylines will not be regarded as literary material. So a term in the contract for scripts and other story forms a screenwriter produces. So this means they won't be competing with computers for screen credits. AI-generated stories could be considered as a source material. Their contractual language for the novels, video games, other works may adapt into scripts. The strike affected many TV shows and movies. So like, what it boils down to with the deal prohibits AI from writing or rewriting literary material for projects covered by the minimum basic agreement. So they can't be replaced by AI, basically, to write the stuff. The deal also protects writers from having their work used to train AI models. See, that's a big thing people haven't been talking about, is the idea that, like, you can just go, hey, let's just take all this work, throw it into machine, learns how this guy writes, and use that to write more episodes of his show, right? So they can't do that now. It also, on the flip side, this is what's interesting to me. The deal allows writers to use AI software like ChatGPT to aid in the writing process, but only if they choose to do so and comply with the studio's policies. So the studio can't mandate that AI be used or can't use AI without the writers, but the writers can actually use AI to make stuff. So it's an interesting
Twist.
whatever, you know. So yeah, so the point is, they got a lot of the wins that they were hoping for, with the minimum staff stuff, with the residual stuff, with the AI stuff. Huge wins for them. Less than what they were asking for, because I think initially they said it was like 174 million would be the hit if they got everything they wanted. So they ended up, I think it was like 131 million. So it was, 40-50 million less, but still good enough that they felt like these next 3 years that helps people get to where they need to be. Now, obviously, this strike had, it's been going on for 140 whatever days. The actors' strike is still ongoing. It's interesting to me, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, or anybody in the chat, let me know what your thoughts on it are, is that it made sense they settle the writers first, right? Because if you have writers and actors on strike and you settle the actors first, they still can't go back to work because they don't got writers. Or, I mean, technically
They're
they could, because, yeah, but I mean, technically they could.
they don't have anything to act. What are they gonna do? Okay, puppet. That's like the puppet without the strings.
Right.
Not gonna work.
What they would have done is like look at Deadpool the movie that they were working on. The writers went on strike. The actors were allowed to continue acting. They couldn't do any rewrites. They couldn't change the script. They couldn't do any of that stuff because of the writers being on strike. So they could go back and act and whatever. But once you ran out of whatever's done, they're screwed. Yeah. So it makes sense to bring back the writers first so they can start generating these scripts, so that eventually when they deal with the actors, they'll come back and there's stuff to be done. It's, I don't know, man. It's, what do you think in this? Let me ask you this. Does the writers winning, right, ending the strike, getting back to work, while the actors are still on strike, does that strengthen the resolve of the actors? Does that like hurt the viability of what the studios, you know what I mean? Does it put them in a weaker bargaining stance? Or are they still like, well, at least we got stuff being worked on, and fuck them, and you think they'll actually quit?
No, these people aren't dumb. They already know what they're gonna give the actors, and they just had to see what they can get away with the first group, because they struck first too. And I feel like the actors only did it because the writers did it, and like, we got your back, guys.
Yeah.
But they already know what they're gonna get away with now. So, and the actors are actors. That's why they do what they do, because they want people to watch them and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
they already make a shit ton of money as it is. The writers are the ones who do all the work and don't get shit for it.
True. But remember, when we talk about this, to be clear, 170,000 of the 190,000 working actors in the WGA, SAG, SAG, Screen Actors Guild, 170 out of 190,000 don't qualify for health insurance because of not making enough money acting. So while I do agree, your Leonardo DiCaprios, your Brad Pitts are making hundreds of $1 million for absolute dog shit movies that nobody watches. Most actors that are just trying to make ends meet are literally living paycheck to paycheck and working 3, 4, 5 jobs outside of their acting. So it's a tough gig, man. And I couldn't care less about the big movie stars, but those working actors, man, those guys that are just trying to make ends meet, like shit, the people that come on this show, help them out. Look out for these people. The sports bar
They're
says
still not gonna get anything.
Yeah. The sports bar said this makes it sound like studios are going to 8-episode series like Disney's been doing with almost all their Disney shows. Yeah. For those wondering, like, oh, why is this so short? There's reasons.
HBO started that.
Yeah, it's not
they
story
break everything
reasons.
up.
Yep.
I haven't seen a 13-episode season in, I don't know, 15 years.
Yeah.
They have no talent. So,
Yeah.
let's give 6, and we'll give them 2. We'll wait 5 months. We'll give them 2 more, and then we'll wait 3 years, and we'll give them 4 more. So they forget what the hell they were watching in the first place.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's
still
see.
like, I don't know, 190,000 people. Marine Corps has 200,000. So I didn't qualify for health care in the Marine Corps. I got it for free.
There you go. Yeah. If those guys want
Crimea
health care,
River.
they can join the military.
That's right. Army's giving big bonuses.
Yeah. Yeah. So funny enough, I reached out to a good friend of mine who is a writer in Hollywood, and actually the guy that was helping me trying to write a show. Fuck Hollywood, fucking motherfucker.
God bless him.
And no, I reached out to him.
We're cut out for her.
Yeah, I said, oh, congrats on on the Hollywood strike and the writer strike, and hopefully you guys got what you wanted. And I said, hey man, not for nothing, but I'd love like a soundbite, right? I'd love to know what do you think as a writer in Hollywood, like what do you think about the whole thing? And so he texted me back, he goes, thanks, and he goes, too long of an answer to text, but let's talk soon. So I'll get with him and we'll I'm curious to hear what as a professional Hollywood writer, guy who's written TV shows, like what does he think about all this and kind of the outcomes of it. So we'll see.
Because it's like the studios are making all the money and they're a small group of people, but I mean when you're making billions of dollars off these people, it's like give them. They want 5%. You can't give them 5%. Like
crazy, right? Isn't that
whatever,
crazy?
dicks.
So let's see what else. Yeah, so like I said, the actor strike is still ongoing. Realistically, I don't think the studios are in a position where they need to do anything for a while. Because
I think they are. They have nothing there's nothing on. We're getting game shows. Exactly. And then the movie, like you look at what's on the movies. I think we were just talking about this the other day. It's like they got Back to the Future, Hocus Pocus. It's like I'm not paying $10 a ticket to watch something that's
from the
I
80s.
can watch for pull out of the $5 bin at Walmart. Like, get out of here.
True.
It's free on all the streaming services I pay for anyway.
Very true. Very true. So here's the thing. I totally lost my train of thought. Actors, the movies
Coming soon or something.
Oh,
you said
yeah.
they don't think anything will come soon or something.
Yeah, because here's why. When we look at TV, because movies are a big part of the industry, but really TV is what drives the acting landscape. TV is seasonal, right? We all know that, right? There's a fall lineup, there's a summer lineup, and they're on season, they're off season, and Hollywood, like anyone else, is an industry where they take the holidays off and things like that. Like nothing. I've had guys tell me nothing happens in Hollywood, like behind the scenes. Nothing happens in Hollywood from like mid-November until mid-January. So, knowing all this, like. Anything that was going to be on fall TV has already been shot and edited and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right now, the writers are going back to work, and again, not counting streaming, right? Because you can release streaming stuff anytime. So specifically, like on TV, in movies, your summer blockbusters and things like that. That's what they're working on now. They're working on the um, spring. You know what I mean? Because anything, think about it. Like one of the teams, they said that they're going back now that the writer strike's over, is The Last of Us, the team behind The Last of Us. They're going to start putting pen to paper now. Even if they got it done somehow before Christmas, it's still not going to be even starting production probably till the summer and be released the year after.
That's HBO though. They have it's 3 years out before we got that anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So, but there are other shows for like Amazon, Hulu, all of them that are spinning up. Stranger Things, a lot of people are concerned that like by the time the actor strikes over, those kids can't play kids anymore. They're fucking adults. You can't play another season of high school kids. So there are concerns with that. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot goes into it. But yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, like their big thing, and I think their power move was that they voted to authorize to go on strike on the video game industry, right?
Yeah.
So I think that puts pressure. Like the video game industry is going to put pressure on the movie stores to go fucking fix this before they come after us, right? Because that's their next target. It's like, look, we're we are the characters and the voices and the mocaps and all this, and they're getting pennies on the dollar for what these studios are making. So, but then again, video games as a market have been losing money for a long time.
Yeah.
So that's that. That's the latest with the strike. I'm so happy that it's coming to a close. Your late night talk shows are back. Your Jimmy Fallons, your Jimmy Kimmels, your what's his name, Oliver, whatever. They're all back on TV, and I think the Daily Show's coming back on Comedy Central. They're looking for a new host. I sent my tape in. Well, I haven't heard back yet. I'm sure they just haven't gotten around to it. But hosting the Daily Show with
You have to be
CQ.
really, really bad to be one of those guys. So
Perfect.
aim a little lower.
Perfect. That fit right in. So anyway, what else? Outside of that whole thing, oh man, I know Angry Elf is out there, so he's gonna really like this. So I'm gonna share with you guys. Adidas has a new Spider-Man inspired shoe coming out as part of the company's Ultra 4D Advanced Collection, created in part using recycled materials. So here, let's take a look. Beep. There it is. I mean, it's pretty. The shoes are mostly red, white, and blue, seemingly modeled to look like they'd match perfectly with Insomniac Spidey's suit. Further in keeping with the video game, the sole is not only black, but tendrils are creeping up from it all the way around the shoe, representing Venom, an iconic comic book character who played a key role in the Spider-Man when it launches, in this Spider-Man game when it launches in October 20. The tongue of the shoe has a red web design and the iconic white Spider-Man symbol at the top to complete the look. If you want to pick up a pair and feel a little more like Spidey ahead of the sequel's launch, you can try your luck through Tilly's by clicking on the link that's, you go to the Tilly's website and the link's there. It is priced at $220. Now, the first wave sold out incredibly quickly, but it's worth keeping an eye on the site because they're saying more stock may be released because of the demand of the shoe. So, thoughts, Mr. Mad Mike? Thoughts on the shoe?
It looks cool, but I wouldn't buy it.
I mean, $220. That's a bit extreme.
Yeah, like
It's a bit extreme.
I know people like it's a big industry like now collecting
Collectible shoes, yeah.
I'm cheap. I was like $50 or less, dude. If it's not on sale for 50 or less, I'm not buying it.
If I'll be honest,
plus Adidas. I don't know why I have this. I have to wear certain shoes because of fucking leg and shit. But
Yeah.
I couldn't wear it. I can't wear Adidas. They're too narrow. I'm a man. I'm not a little boy.
Dainty
from
lady
China.
feet.
Yeah. I'm a real American human being. These shoes made in America.
I would be comfortable paying tops $149.99.
Jesus
$150, just because they're limited edition,
shoes?
they're collectible.
You're not even gonna wear them.
I wouldn't wear them. They'd be.
Well, they
like-
wouldn't fit you either. First of all, second of all, you're not gonna wear them.
They'd be right over there, maybe with like one of the Spider-Man heads or something. I'd put it like, but
And
yeah, more
honestly,
than that.
Yeah, that's probably the coolest superhero ones I've seen. But usually they're like, it's like, oh, look at the Joker shoe, and it's like purple and green. It's like none of the concepts in there.
Yeah,
This one at least they tried better. Good for you, Germany.
We just released this new Batman shoe. It's just a black shoe.
It's just black,
but it's Batman inspired.
It's non-slip.
It's got,
for when you're busting tables.
It's got the little hooks, the little spikes and shit. The Batman, whatever those called, talons, whatever they're
called. Got real. I'll pay $200 if you get real symbiotes or words. Symbiotes. I don't know.
Symbiotes. 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 Symbiotics.
We don't pronounce stuff on this show.
That's not a prerequisite here. It's oh man. Angry Elf says, yeah, they look sick, not $200+ sick.
No.
Yeah, I
feel
mean,
like you can buy like another one and just like get some tar and then fling that shit at it. I'm sure they have a blue and red one somewhere.
What? And I'd love to hear from the audience. By please, if you guys have some. What would be an item that you like? I'd put money to that, right? Like I'm talking like a collectible. What is it for you? Obviously, I'm a doormat for collectibles. What's your thing? What would be your like? Oh man, I'd want that. And how much is it gonna run you?
For shoes, the only shoes I've ever wanted was the Back to the Future ones that they did.
Oh yeah,
which sold for a sick amount of money.
Well, there's different versions of it too. Are you talking about like the actual like the screen replica?
Yeah, the one that was like and then like tightened and stuff.
Yeah, those things they went for thousands of dollars. Thousands.
It's worth it.
It's worth it. Yeah, I know.
Like not much. Other collectibles, I don't know. I'm not into it. I collect comic books. That's it, man.
Yeah.
Care for the like trinkets and stuff. Like I don't know.
We're gonna have so much fun at New York Comic Con.
Yeah, we are. It's just gonna make fun of everything. Like you're buying that? Are you stupid? Give me $500 and I'll kick you in the dick.
I'll give you something to last longer. You'll feel it. No. Yeah. Oh man, with the Back to the Future stuff, like, it's so disgusting how much they will rake you over the coals for your nostalgia. Like I saw like at one point Pepsi released like the special Pepsi like in the glass with the tubey thing, and they're like, yeah, enjoy your futuristic Pepsi, only like $500. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, are you kidding me? Just because you put it in a little plastic tube, you're gonna come on, man. Ugh, it's disgusting.
Easy money.
It's disgusting what they.
Are you going to show them your Pepsi can?
Yeah. So if you look over there, those bastards, like right over there. No, trust me. One day, this is I can't get rich. I can't because it'd be a waste. It'd be a waste. I would just buy all the things that make me happy and keep me. I'd be alone in my room with all my things. Angry Elf says, for him, it's a complete Darth Vader costume, okay? And funny enough, to match that, the actual King Smith says an Iron Man suit His buddy has one, and it rocks. He has a functioning Iron Man suit. That'd be awesome.
You have an Iron Man suit?
I don't. I don't. I wish I
He
did.
said his buddy does.
I'm assuming he has other buddies. I would.
Yeah.
I would assume.
I don't think so.
Scott Rosa said, "Guns, cards, coins, etc." Nice, man. What's your? I guess cards. I wonder what cards. You're talking like trading cards, like football cards, or
Baseball cards. There's
baseball
no
cards?
money in football cards. Shut up,
How
dude.
dare you? How dare you? Dude, there was a time, long time ago. I collected sports cards for a little while. I
I
remember
collect baseball cards, so.
what was my I'm trying to think what was like the pinnacle of my collection. I think I had a Brett Favre like rookie card.
Talking about that,
Yeah.
I bought one in the swap shop in Harper's Ferry. $5. Brett Favre rookie card. It's worth $500.
Wow, look at you.
Was
Look
before
at
he
you.
took a bunch of money
Yeah.
from Mississippi.
Yeah. Before he was a criminal.
Yeah.
Scott says he does hockey cards. Okay. All
Oh.
right.
I thought football wasn't worth anything. Hockey's worth even less.
They lose
That's
money
a
every time they
niche- That's like a
print cards.
small niche. Like it's like really low. It's like baseball, football. It's kind of tied with basketball and then
Soccer. Get some
Hi-
soccer cards out there.
It's like hockey, soccer, and golf. Then wrestling cards.
Scott says it's sentimental. Oh, it's sentimental. That's
No,
why.
I love hockey, but I just know the cards aren't shit.
I got that new pickleball deck of Topps
Yeah,
cards.
all the greats are in it.
You got Slamming Steve Bazowski. You know, you got that new PGA bowlers, or not the PGA. That's golf. What's the PBA bowlers? Pro Bowlers
Yeah,
Association.
PBA.
The new PBA Tops 101.
Rolling Dave.
Shiny Steve.
He's got the skull bowling ball.
It's I got the holographics too, so that you know
And it was a
it's worth more.
misprint, so it's like a little pony ball instead of the skull.
Yep, exactly. All right. Let's see. Oh, in other news, GameStop. I mean, all of us gamers have a history
They're still around.
with GameStop. Do you remember when like GameStop was a thing? Like when it was like holy shit, bro, let's roll up into GameStop. Let's do the midnight release. Like that was, I don't know, man. It's so funny looking back at it that it was such a like a slice of history. Like I look at it like when going to the mall was kind of a big thing as like a teenager, right? Like
Going to rent a movie from the store.
yeah, going to Blockbuster to rent a movie.
Kids don't understand that. I
I
tried to watch the Blockbuster show on Netflix, and my kids were like,
I don't get it.
I don't understand this. Why are
Uh,
people going there? Jesus Christ, kids are so spoiled. I don't have time for this.
I can't explain to you why you had
Just
to
click everything you want to watch. You used to have to sit down in front of the TV and you had to hold your bowel movement until commercial, and then everyone ran at the same time because you only had 5 minutes to take a piss.
Yeah. There was that. But the kids don't understand. Like the idea of like you want to see this movie, and you go to your local video store, and then they don't have the movie. you drove 15,
You have
20
copies
minutes.
of the most popular movie ever, but you have 70 copies of like freaking Good Burger, and you have 2 copies of Mission Impossible. How does this make sense?
And you like have to call do you guys have the movie in stock? And there's some 16-year-old guy there. I don't know, man. Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have it, and you go down there and you
Go down there, it's not
yeah,
there.
we just rented it out.
Yeah, fucking piece of shit. King Smith says, mentioned on the sports bar, there was a signed Tom Brady rookie card that recently sold for $1.8 million. Why?
Waste.
Why?
Waste.
Why? I don't know. Here's the funny thing. I'm the
I get
same
it
guy.
if it's old, but modern era cards, they're so mass produced, and he's still alive. He's still young.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. If it's like, when cards weren't kept because they were part of cigarette packs
Yeah.
or whatever, then
Or
I get
kids use
same
them in the
thing with
bike
comic
spokes.
books
Remember
when they made like 5,000 or 1,000 copies of Action Comics #1. It's like, yeah, that's worth it because there's not more. It's like
Yeah.
there's probably like, I don't know, 18 million copies of that card out there, and you can get them to sign it. I mean, for
Yeah.
anything.
I
Stupid.
It's so funny to me because I will fight this and going like, that's dumb. But let me show you my signed comic book and tell you how, like, why that's so, like, when you take a step back and you go like, it's the same. It's the same thing. It's a thing. It's signed, and somehow in your mind that's like that increases the value, and now it's worth so much more. I've got multiple books signed by Stan Lee, and obviously
Yeah, but
Stan
they're
Lee's no
like
longer with us,
the
and they're old
quantity of
books.
those is still significant. It's rare. The rarity. I mean, like
Yeah,
that's what collecting is these days. It's like, oh, because they mass produce everything. So it's like comic books. It's like you want to get the 1 in 1,000 or the 1 in 500.
yeah,
Same thing with cards. You want to get, they do it with all cards now. Like the limited triple refractor, whatever, 1 in 1,000.
yeah.
Those are worth money. It's not like the basic.
Exactly. I get that. So like we were talking about, remember a couple weeks ago, Magic the Gathering, they did that partnership with Lord of the Rings, and they printed that one of one, the ring card that was all in elvish and shiny and shit, and the one guy found it and sold it for like whatever it was, like $200 million or whatever crazy.
Yeah,
No,
that
sold
I
for
get.
$2 million.
Not a.
But yeah,
God,
Tom
I
Brady.
hate Tom Brady.
I like
Tom
that.
Brady. Fuck the Patriots.
Patrick, that's actually good. He goes, it's like stocks for kids. You got to predict which ones will have value and which ones will flop.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's kind of like an early stock trip is the. Scott says, if you get the Spider-Man shoes signed by all 3 Spider-Mans, how much you think it'll be? Oh, like the value of having one of those sneakers signed and nicely signed, because some of these are descript, like you catch them like outside a bathroom and you're like, here, sign it with this pen, and it's like all jacked up.
Dude's like, I just ate 3 Taco Bell burritos, bro. Now's not the time. He's like sweating and stuff. It's like telling him, like,
there's a little bit of shit on there.
It's like,
You
that's not
see
even
here,
a tea.
there's a little bit of shit sprayed out.
I think that breakfast bowl isn't a good idea.
Oh man. So yeah, if you had like the pair of Spider-Man shoes, you signed by the 3 actors, let's be clear, the live action actors who have played Spider-Man.
Well, if you get them signed at like a Comic-Con, you paid what, $300 each.
God.
So that's what, $900 minimum.
Yeah, just for the
Probably more.
signatures. Another 220 for the
1,500
shoes.
plus 200, 1,720. I would want to get at least $2,000 for that shit.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, the idea is that there is a multiplication of value, right? So if the signature costs you 300 plus standing in line plus tickets to the show plus all these things, you multiply it by 3 for each one. So, a pair of those shoes, as hot as they are, with all 3 signatures, I don't know, you're probably looking at $20,000-$30,000, at auction for
you go to
wouldn't want
Facebook
anything less.
Marketplace, and I'll be like, "Can I trade you for I got 35 empty beer cans. I'll trade you.
I got a broken PS4.
Yeah, got a broke down 1982 Mazda Miata. There's
Only
no motor.
missing doors, tires, engine, and roof. Other than that,
Slight
solid.
rust.
Solid.
No glass.
Good bones. Good bones. It's got real good bones. Anyway,
Totally worth it.
runs in your dreams. GameStop. This is where I was going.
We were talking about something else.
completely went off the rails. GameStop, obviously one of the most prominent retailers in the space of gaming. Obviously over time, it's kind of lost its relevance, I think, in the market as it is. I mean, Angry Elf out there says he still goes there at least once a week. But the truth is, it's been struggling quite a bit.
Just go in there.
Just goes in, high fives everybody.
Goes in the chat. Way to keep it going, buddy.
He goes in to see what's on clearance. Is this on clearance
There's
yet?
not
No?
even an employee in there anymore. It's just a store.
Yeah, it's one of those self-service kiosks now at the mall. Obviously, the stores have been struggling since about the mid 2010s. Games are moving more and more to digital. Even systems, they're saying, projecting out that the next systems will be all digital. There
What
is
it, Xbox or one of didn't they both have a
both has an all
there's no
digital
disc
version.
drive?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they both have a all digital version. Now, the fascinating thing is, when you look at like, oh, well, obviously having it digitally is better. I don't have to deal with discs. I can preload it before it even comes out. So that way, as soon as it's out, I can play it. Like, there's all these benefits. And then obviously having the physical disc allows you to have something of value, right? I own this physical copy of this disc. I can sell it. I can trade it. I can do whatever. I heard this interesting story where people are getting upset because, and PlayStation got caught for doing this. I don't know if Xbox is doing it, but PlayStation got, they got their hand slapped. They were going into these, like, the digital shop, whatever, and are deleting games.
Really?
So games that you would have purchased, you go back to play it. It's still on your hard drive because you still have the code in your thing. But because now all these games do those like checks online, because it's not in the store anymore, it basically says like, oh, you don't own a copy of this. And so there are people that are like trying to play certain games. Now they're older games, they're games that don't really get played much. It's not like Call of Duty or anything. But the idea that, and I can guarantee you this is Sony going like, yeah, nobody plays this. It's taking up room on our servers. Fucking delete it. Nobody's going to notice. But a couple of games have gotten busted for people that had paid money to own this game digitally, that now PlayStation's not supporting that game anymore. So
So you
in
can't
essence,
play it.
they own nothing. So there are a lot of people against the digital owning of games because they're like, you don't own anything. You're renting it. You're leasing it.
Yeah.
Because at any point they can go, we don't want to have it on our store anymore, and delete it, and you can't play it. Even if you downloaded it to your system, you still can't play it. So
Same time, it's like that the CD, like whatever material,
yeah,
it's not gonna last that long, anyways.
yeah.
How many games I've tried to play, and then it's like goes in and it's like skipping and glitching and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like cartridges, yeah, like cartridges last forever. You just blow it. Worst case, get the alcohol, swab it. I was trying to explain that to my kids too. Like, why would you do that? It's like, well, you don't understand. You have to blow it, you have to tap it 3 times, and then you put it back in the freaking Nintendo. But the disc, it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't take good care of them, I guess. So they probably wouldn't last long. The digital copy anyway. I'm all for digital. Like, gosh darn it, who scratched this? Who set it on the thing? Like, just set it down, face down.
As a goddamn coaster.
I'll kill you.
Who's using my disc as a coaster? I remember when like GameStop was selling the little fix it, scratch it things. Like you put the disc in there,
like 200 grit sand. It's like not a good idea at all.
Oh man, the show is okay. So you take it, you put a little toothpaste on it, and you're gonna run it, but you can't run, not circle.
No.
You gotta streak out away from the center. It was a whole
fucking. Like, put everything circle on it. Why can't I just follow the circle?
Oh man. Anyway, reason I brought it up to talk about GameStop is that
all digital now.
Well, no, there's really less and less reasons, obviously, to buy games at GameStop, especially now that
digital copies.
Especially now, consoles are obviously kind of moving away from the disc drive. We've already heard that. So the company's in a bad spot. Obviously, and there's that new movie out about it. There was that big spike in corporate whatever investing because of the stocks went skyrocketing to the moon and all that stupid shit that they did. That saved it for a while. That saved GameStop for a while. But now things are returning to normalcy and the company's not doing great. The company has to be serious about its future. So as reported by CNBC, the company's new CEO, Ryan Cohen, sent out a memo stressing the importance of being frugal going forward. So he stressed that watching the company's spending and operating efficiency will make sure that the company can survive. It really does sound like if they make any mistakes, there could be some disaster coming, because this is an actual quote. It is not sustainable for GameStop to operate a money-losing business. The mission is to operate hyper efficiently and profitably. Our expense structure must allow us to ensure that to endure any adverse scenario, whether it's a difficult economy or revenue deceleration. I gotta use some big ass words. From shrinking software, we must be profitable. Our job is to make sure GameStop is here for decades to come. Extreme frugality is required. Every expense at the company must be scrutinized under a microscope and all waste eliminated. The company has no use for delegators and money wasters. I expect everyone to treat the company money like their own and lead by example. Prospering in retail means survival. If we survive, we stay in the game. Survival is avoiding the deadly sins that often lead retailers to self-destruct. This is usually the result of the following: buying bad inventory, using leverage, and running expenses too high. By avoiding these self-inflicted mistakes and focusing on the basics, GameStop can be here for a long time. I read that, and it sounded to me like somebody who was like, look, we're on our last legs. We are 1 foot out the door, 1 foot in the grave, really. And at first, I kind of was just like, we've seen it. Let's just say in our industry, we've seen it. New guy comes in, sweeping declarations. We're going to fix shit around here. And then eventually they're out the door and somebody else comes in. Here's what made me think differently about that. Cohen is, and this is reported, Cohen is not issuing empty words and not asking his employees to do things he wouldn't do himself. The new CEO has gone on record and will not be getting paid for his position, and noted he either is going down with the ship or turning the company around. So that made me pause. For you to become the CEO of GameStop and be like, look, I'm not taking any money. And it's a ballsy move, in my opinion. It's a ballsy move because he goes down with the ship and is like, fuck it. He goes down as the guy who tried, right? And gave it his all. Or B, he fucking finds a way to turn it around, and he'll be lauded as like one of the greatest CEOs of all time to like come in, not take a dollar, and then, you know what I mean? He'll be in the Hall of Fame of CEOs. So I don't know. Your thoughts on CEO making sweeping declarations and then going on record as saying like, I'm not going to get paid until we turn this shit around.
That's still bullshit to me. Like, he's gonna get paid. It's probably like not right now. It's probably like, if I can get whatever, 20% profit, then I'll, then he gets a bonus later or whatever. Or he's doing it to line up his next job. That's all these guys do. They go from company to company, and then the next job he takes will be with whatever, PlayStation, because they're fucking gonna fail. And then
They're
he'll
next.
give himself a fat, like, record-breaking CEO payment, $70 million or whatever. He, the guy who revolutionized GameStop. Same time, it's like, what does GameStop have? Where's their profits? It's from screwing up little kids out of their fucking $700 Xbox, and you're giving them $100 for it and selling them the new one, already overpriced.
It's true.
That's your backbone. It's like, so like nobody's buying physical copies, so all their things is hardware. Like, unless they're gonna, like I said, unless you could trade in digital copies of games, and they're gonna give you money for that.
That was, that to this day that pisses me off, because before Xbox released, back when they were at Xbox One and they were about to do the Series XS, they went on record saying, "Hey, we're gonna do things differently. We know society's moving to digital, and we know people are upset that there's no secondary market for digital and all that." Xbox said, we have an idea that you'll be able to own this digital thing and then be able to trade it to a friend or sell it to a friend, and then you won't own it anymore. It won't be on your machine anymore. Like they had figured out this way. I hate to say, almost like cryptocurrency or NFTs, where like you were sending it back and forth digitally, and people hated it. And I to this day I don't understand why. It was genius, and I don't understand why people were so against it. I don't know. I gotta relook up that story. I just remember thinking like I was just so mad. I'm like, it's perfect. It's perfect.
They were trying to help out GameStop, is what they're trying to do, and themselves. It's like people are still buying the games. Doesn't really benefit them much, other than like a way to sell digital copies, which is now prevalent, so it doesn't matter. But I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's now GameStop has old systems and like socks and little toys and trinkets and shit.
Yeah. Let's see. Scott says, I think GameStop can be saved if they switch to an online store. If you want to buy physical copies from them, you still can. Obviously, they would send it to you, and they need to retain those special pre-order bonuses. Yeah.
That's That's probably what they're gonna do. That's part of keeping costs down. They're gonna shut down all these stores.
Shut down the stores and go digital and go virtual.
They'll keep the ones in the malls because the rent there is cheap because nobody goes to the fucking mall. But the one in your local plaza won't be there anymore.
Tell me about it.
It's like Sears. That's what Sears and all those retailers did. It's like shut down stores and then they go online and then they sell off whatever brands. So it's like the GameStop exclusive will become part of whatever, PlayStation or whatever.
Yeah. GameStop is owned by fucking Target. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about this? What if he doesn't take a pay, but he goes, here is your pay, what your pay would be in the value of GameStop stock today, right? Because then if he tanks the company, well, they don't have to pay him anything. he works for free. But if he actually turns it around, it's like having crypto in the early days, that stock shoots through the roof and now he's a multi-billionaire. You know what I mean?
Or he gets the stocks and he does like what the kids did. Like, you guys need to buy GameStop stocks. Drives up the price.
And then bails.
And then sells it all and makes out like a freaking bandit.
He's like, I'm out, bitches. I'm out. I mean, yeah, that's true.
Smart.
Yes, angry.
There's some clause. No one's working for free, like besides us. We're the only suckers that work for free.
We're the only suckers that work for free. True enough. One last thing I was gonna say. Shit. What did I had a thought.
I saw Toys R Us is coming back. Speaking about crappy company.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Bro, the shit you can get away in business is ridiculous. So everyone knows Bed Bath & Beyond went into bankruptcy. But right now, I challenge you. I'm sure you have your phone nearby. Go to bedbathandbeyond.com. Go ahead, check it out. Like you there, Mad Mike.
Is it a porn store?
Yes, it is a porn website now. No. Bedbathandbeyond.com. Go ahead.
Oh, it's on here.
Right?
I can buy overpriced towels and all kinds of shit. I can get screwed online now.
To you, the layman, would you not say that is that's their colors? That's their website. It looks exactly the same things they're selling.
100% the same, yeah.
It's Bed Bath & Beyond, right? You are wrong, sir. It is not Bed Bath & Beyond.
Shipped to, and it has the American flag.
Yeah, it's not Bed Bath & Beyond. You know who owns that? Overstock.com. They went to a liquid, what's it called? Liquidator, and bought all the IP of Bed Bath & Beyond. Really? They bought their website. They bought the logo. They bought the name. They bought everything. So, in effect, there is no Overstock.com anymore. It is now, they've rebranded themselves. So it's not the same company. But it's literally awesome. Like they peeled the skin off a dead body, threw it on, and they're like, that's me. That's what they've done. It's crazy. It's absolutely bonkers that they're like, because everyone associated Overstock.com with like weird, like fringe shit and whatever, and they're like, oh, that was it. Actually, Bed Bath and Beyond got delisted from stocks Monday too. Yeah, it's the wolf in sheep's wool, exactly what it is. But it's this idea that like legally they can pretend to be Bed Bath and Beyond. Well, it's not even pretend. They are now Bed Bath and Beyond, but they're not Bed Bath and Beyond. They're Overstock.com, but they're not. They're Bed Bath
Smart.
and Beyond.
They just rebranded themselves on the low.
Yeah, like
and it's a built-in audience.
exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Because they already have everything set up to ship everything out. Because they already.
It's all digital.
Company.
It's all online. It's all digital. No physical stores. There will not be any Bed Bath and Beyond stores ever again. But they're operating as Bed Bath & Beyond digital. But it's literally just Overstock.com with a new skin. That's all it is.
Just do like Pier 1. I'm going to start buying up.
I'm like, when you think about it, that is...
get fucking fired. I'm going to buy the Sports Bar IP. Just see us on there. Like, wait, what's happening? They went bankrupt. We bought them out.
Exactly.
You guys did this for free. Like,
exactly.
Don't worry about it.
Don't ask questions you can't understand. But yeah,
that's crazy though. That's smart.
Wild.
Bro, that CEO deserves his paycheck.
That guy should double the nothing he's taken in. Yeah. He's double the nothing. But yeah, man, I saw that. I was just like, that's a baller move. That's a baller move to be like.
If you think about it, it's no different than like another company like Macy's bought Toys R Us. It's kind of the same thing. It's just like.
Just pretending to be. It would. I'm trying to think
Lowe's
what would
bought Craftsman. Like there's no different. Like
yeah, I'm trying to think what would be the most.
It's like you buying a drug dealer's car on auction from the police auction. It's like the same shit. It's like
sure,
not a drug dealer, but I got his car.
Yeah, I got a fancy car. Yeah. Speaking of which, there's a guy that all his fancy cars are being sold in Baltimore. Next week. I was thinking about going to the auction just to see what they go for, but anyway, so separate side tangent. But yeah, no, it would be like if
that's slick,
DQ, right, the little ice cream store, that sometimes has those, Dairy Queen, that has those sometimes they have like the little grill spots. Imagine if Sonic went out of business and then they just bought up all of the Sonic brand and we're like, you know what, fuck it, DQ ain't selling it for us, so we're Sonic now.
We're like, Sonic now. You go in and the guy's in a DQ uniform. You're like, what the? It's like, no, we don't skate. He just comes out, like, flips your fucking burger upside down. Like, what are you doing? It didn't fall out. It's not free.
Hold your fries upside down.
Like, no, all the fries just fell on the ground.
I guess it's free. Enjoy your meal.
Sorry, it's a habit.
Enjoy your dirt fries. Yeah. I want guys to be pretending to skate, but they're just wearing shoes. So they're just dragging their feet back and forth.
Like your sound effects suck.
Yeah. Yeah. And no, King Smith, it's not a cousin. It's not a cousin. All right. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, I will play for you the interview of the two co-directors of the new horror film in theaters and on demand right now, called Deliver Us. I've got the co-directors, Crew Ennis and Leroy Kunz, two fantastic young men who we had a great conversation, and I'm excited for you guys to see that. So we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have that interview. And Mad Mike, I am releasing you for the night. Thank you as always for hanging out with us, and I look forward to many more adventures. As a new I have to get you a co-host shirt. It'll just say co-host and maybe have like a little arrow pointed up or something like that. I gotta get you something. Or we get like, which by the way, real quick, I remember not so long ago you were saying that your youth soccer people were looking for advertisers. We're looking to put the logo on something. So by all means, I want a little Pop Culture Warrior team out there in the league, so make it happen.
One soccer team in my town. You're welcome. But anyways, I'm good at all things I do.
Yeah,
we'll get you on there. I don't know.
we're change it to team names.
Someone
little
else we know
CQs.
wants to be in on that action too. So
Yeah, but
we'll drive that price up, baby.
is supply and demand.
Wait till I
baby.
start losing and then sneaking. But sponsor from under me.
Buy low, man. You gotta buy low. All right, guys, we're gonna take a short break, just a few minutes, so I can get everything prepped and running, and then we'll be back with more show after this. Go ahead and say goodbye to everybody, Mike.
Goodbye, everybody, Mike.
The fucking people I work with. All right, guys, we'll be right back. Shots.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, you there? Yeah, it is right, you. Let me ask you something, alright? Where the hell do you think that you're going? Oh, would you think because the show's going to commercial that means you get to just walk away? Well, CQ asked me to pass on the little message, alright? And it says, I'll be back.
After all I've done, do you love me now? Do you love me now? After all I've said, running through your head, do you love me now? Do you love me now? And if I told you everything, I bet you cry and run away. 'Cause with all the lies I keep, made you believe this was me. The truth is I am not at all who I preach myself to be. And I deserve to be alone. And I'm alone here with me.
Broadcasting live from the basement of a Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Ooh, this is a good one. You're going to enjoy this. Guys, my guests tonight are the co-directors of Deliver Us, a new horror film that reimagines the biblical story of the Immaculate Conception. They are both accomplished filmmakers who have worked on various genres and formats, from comedy to drama, from feature films to graphic novels. They are also the founders of World's Fair Pictures, a production company that has produced compelling films and content across 19 countries. They have a passion for storytelling and a flair for creativity, which they have showcased in their latest film, which is both terrifying and thought-provoking. It is my honor to introduce you to our esteemed guests for the night, two of the most talented and visionary directors in the industry right now. Please welcome to the show the amazing Leroy Kunz and crew Ennis. All right, joining me tonight is two incredible guys, two of the visionaries behind the new horror. I don't even know what to really classify it as, the horror thriller, religious masterpiece you got going, Deliver Us, which will be in theaters and on demand September 29th. I've got co-director, producer, crew Ennis, and not to be outdone, co-director, co-writer, producer, actor, Leroy Kunz. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us, Michael.
Awesome. So the show is it's for a military audience, made for veterans by veterans kind of thing. So I like to always ask the guests, we like to get to know them a little bit first before we talk about the project. So first, do you guys have any military connection, family members, friends, anything like that?
My father's a Vietnam vet, and basically everyone I went to high school with, and then my grandfather's a vet, my mother's side, and her brother. So military family over here for sure.
Yeah, runs deep.
Yeah.
And Lee?
My grandfather, World War II, was in the Navy, and my one of my best friends from home is actually flying out for the premiere this Wednesday, and he actually served 2 tours in Afghanistan with the Marines. His name's Corey Earhart.
Outstanding. Well, we thank them for your service and the family support. Obviously, it's always a big part of the journey. So obviously, we're also a pop culture podcast and show, and so I'm curious in getting to know you guys outside of what you do, so directing and the writing and things. Like, what do you guys geek out about? What's your thing?
Oh, where to start? I mean, Lee can take up this whole segment just talking about beer. It'd be a whole nother show. Mine, I geek out about marine biology. I know that sounds weird. Sharks in particular, and then old defenders. Those are my 2 passions, I guess you'd say. So, but that, as interesting as the ocean is, get ready. Here it comes. Go ahead. Tell us about the beer, Leroy.
Okay, so I have like a full-scale brewery in my apartment. I have 16 beers on tap, individual styles that I brewed, and like lots of fermenters running at all times.
And they're amazing.
Thank you. And then guitar, but mostly country music. So that's kind of like just like learning classic songs.
Thanks. Oh, I like it. You guys are going to be fun. I can already tell. You guys are going to be fun to chat with. Okay, so before we dive again into the movie itself, which I have so many things I want to ask you about, what are some of maybe your favorite horror films, directors, and kind of how have they influenced, your style or approach to filmmaking?
I'll go for one of my favorite films is Alien, the first one, the atmospheric horror, like that's the guidebook of how to do it, right? And then a recent one that it's not a new movie, but Leroy brought it to my attention was Possession. It was just such a haunting horrific. Like I still live with that movie. But those are two that come to mind. Leroy.
Yeah, I mean, recently I think Hereditary and The Witch both got us really excited about the renaissance of like really good horror films that are being made right now. And then in film school, watching The Omen, The Exorcist, Rosemary's Baby, Ken Russell's The Devils in theaters or like on 35 millimeter. And then more recently for this film, we didn't spend as much with horror. Like the Mission with Robert De Niro was, I think, trying to get to the heart of these religious characters, and also A Hidden Life by Terrence Malick that is just one of the more beautiful spiritual films I've probably seen in the last decade.
All right, right on, right on. So let's talk about it. Deliver Us is the film that you guys have created and brought to life. I have a short synopsis here. It's so for the audience to understand. It's when a nun in a remote convent claims immaculate conception, the Vatican sends a team of priests to investigate, concerned about an ancient prophecy that a woman will give birth to twin boys, one possibly the Messiah and one possibly the Antichrist, which is compelling to say the least when you just shorten it into that little blurb. And like I said, it can be found in theaters and on demand September 29th. So I guess the first question, because I know the life cycle of movies and how these things kind of start out, the germ of the idea all the way to when it's released. How much of this was, from inceptual to production, like how much was this done through the pandemic? Because I would assume quite a bit.
Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
When we left for Estonia, there's 6 hours of light a day, and it was the safest place as in the world as far as COVID was concerned. And then the time we started production, because of the delay, it was the worst. So as the rest of the world was recovering, Estonia was finally getting hit. So everything was shut down. And but we were granted license through the state to film as a necessity. So we kind of had keys to the kingdom. We got to go wherever we wanted and do whatever we wanted to do. And this we didn't have a studio budget to make this. And without that, that just really gave us a lot of value. Wouldn't you say, Lee?
Yeah, we just had access to the best people since there was no other jobs. So the very best actors in the entire country, the ones that have won the equivalent of their Academy Award, would come in and they'd have a few lines and they'd absolutely crush it. Or they'd have one line and it would just like bring so much to the film or to that character.
Yep. That's incredible. So, and we could talk all day about the challenge of making something like that, because I can't imagine the amount of work and planning that goes into just on a typical, everything worked out perfectly, rosy cheeks kind of setting, but to add all that, I can't imagine. What inspired you guys to make? I mean, this is obviously heavy material. It reimagines the biblical story of the Immaculate Conception, something that most wouldn't want to not poke fun of or make light of or put into this kind of this way. So what gave you guys the idea to do something like this?
Well, I was in a brewery with my father, and he pitched me the idea. It was his idea. He's like, a nun that's pregnant with twin boys, identical twin boys. Because I thought that was an important part of the theme. And one's the Antichrist and one's the Messiah. And then using my background in as a Catholic school all my life, and I'd still practicing and always studying, was a way to then tell a lot of these like a lot of what I know about the Bible, or like Dostoevsky's The Grand Inquisitor, a chapter from the Brothers Karamazov, to really inspire like Vox Day and the evil part of the Catholic Church that's involved in this plot. So.
And what it got you excited, crew, to join this and get on this train?
Well, when Leroy pitched the initial idea, my first thought was like, why hasn't anyone done this? It's such a brilliant concept. It's so dualistic and it's so simple, and then there's so many ways you can build off of it, and that was it. And then the thought of working with Lee and Isaac, it's like my favorite thing to do. So it was kind of a no-brainer.
Gotcha. Now, speaking of which, how did you guys, because obviously we know director runs the whole thing. He's the brains behind it and whatnot. How do you guys collaborate as co-directors on this project? What are the challenges and the benefits of kind of working together at that?
Well, I would say the benefits is it's handling such an arduous journey. It's a marathon for sure. And then having someone you trust going into it makes things a lot easier and gives you a different perspective. You can bounce ideas, helps you be more sure of yourselves, and helps you make things that you're not so sure of more, solid. That's off the top of the head. And I know Leroy, we were talking about this earlier in another interview, and he said something really interesting about like idea or decision fatigue. And I never even thought about it like that, and it made a lot of sense.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the aspect to be able to divide and conquer. You're needed to make choices on like 4 different things all at once on a film set. So to like be able to do that, or if one of us is too exhausted to make an important decision, you usually have to make it usually by the end of the day. One of us can do it, or we're just bouncing the ideas off each other, and then we come to something. And we never want to discount Isaac, so we kind of feel like the 3 of us work in tandem together. And that if me or crew ever had a disagreement on something, Isaac would always be the tiebreaker, so that we don't get in this like arduous discussion or
saved energy. And then it's like, Leroy put a lot of emphasis on working with actors and rehearsing, and then I worked with Isaac on cinematic language and how that would work, and then we'd come together, critique each other, and then present what you see. And it was a lot of fun, honestly.
I bet. Sounds like what's it's not work if you love what you do, right? You don't work a day.
There you go. That's it.
So obviously horror movies often hold up a mirror to society, right? It reflects their fears and their anxieties and insecurities. How does this film kind of tap into or comment on contemporary fear or cultural themes?
I think we've had that question before about this like real uptick in apocalyptic religious horror. And I think it kind of started in literature a little bit, especially with young adults, like the Hunger Games and Divergent. There's just a lot of talk out there. I was even researching these articles about the percentage of people that think the world's going to end in the next 12 years, or they think they're living in end times, which is usually just a feature of being human. A lot of people, they kind of all assume that if they're going to end, that the world's going to end with them. Like, how could it continue on?
Yeah.
So it's very human, but so than ever. It's like, it's in the culture. And I think those anxieties and when it's such a primal fear that I think a lot of people go back to their default. And obviously religion is so hardwired in human beings, no matter who you are, that it comes to the surface in times like this.
Well, fair point. I'm curious your thoughts as the Catholic guy, and what is it about religion? Because so many people have such a hard memory of it, or it's scary. Like it lends itself well to a horror movie because people are already kind of intimidated by it. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think when religion is done right, it is supposed to focus you on like the worst parts of the world, and to kind of reconcile and on how to like live morally in a place like this, which I think that we try to explore in the horror film. Like, yeah, the world has so much evil, there's so much corruption. How do you get through all that without despairing, and then kind of embracing evil in itself? Crew, do you have anything to add? I had something I was spiraling back to, but
no, I thought that was great. I mean, I don't think you could sum it up any better than that.
Perfect. And touching on those themes, knowing that it's religious, right? That we're talking about a well-known story or a new take on a well-known story. How do you balance that with the horror elements, right? Trying to get, you know, we know the jump scares and the horror and the imagery, and so like those seem like almost opposing ideas of like, you know, this religious undertone with this horror. But how do you balance that?
Well, that was that's part of the point for us, is to examine religious themes with authenticity, you know, do it in a way that grounds it in reality. Like the violence should have an effect on you. That's why we did it this way, because in real life, you know, it's so destructive in the way it, you know, affects people, families, cultures. And so to do that on screen, it's like a warning. It's something you can, you know, take with you. I don't know if I'm doing the best job of summing that up, but that's kind of the idea.
Could we talk about this? I would take it a step further and say, like, if you don't think it's like you can reconcile, you haven't probably read enough of the Bible, because it is so violent. It is so brutal. It has some of the most like horrific things you could, you know, imagine, in terms of sex and violence and incest. And so I think that taking it head on is like kind of the whole point of it.
Yeah. Now, did you, or going into it, you had to imagine that there may be some controversy, there may be some criticism from religious groups or audiences. I mean, how do you reconcile with that? Are you ready for it? Are you open to it? I mean, do you know you're going to get hate without even people watching it? Maybe, you know, are you ready for that?
Yeah, I think that we've talked a lot about that. It's supposed to be a story that explores Christian themes and ideas. It's not supposed to be interpreting the Bible. Also, I mean, one thing I realized is in this is crew being Christian, me being Catholic, we have a slightly different idea of like even Revelations, where Revelations to Catholics is more was a apocalyptic literature that was written at the time as a genre, and it was known to inspire Christians who were being persecuted and killed back then, as a story to give them hope. And yeah, like there's inaccuracies in it that we had to do almost just to tell it. Like the term Immaculate Conception actually doesn't refer to like her being pregnant that way. The Immaculate Conception actually refers to Saint Anne, which is Mary's mother, that she wasn't born with original sin. But the like 99.9% people don't get that, and it's like so we just have to use the shorthand, you know. So yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts, crew? Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think so. It's something that plagued me from the beginning, is like not to do something that was sacrilegious, but ultimately doing something that could Trojan horse the highest ideals of humanity to horror audiences, Christian themes to horror audiences. Isaac's Jewish, Lee's Catholic, I'm Christian, raised Methodist. So in exploring these themes, I'm aware there's going to be backlash, but there's also going to be a lot of good, which is more important, that comes from it.
Right.
Like, you know, sex isn't bad. You know, it's what, you know, populates the earth. We're told to do it. It's violence. We want it to be horrific because it is bad. And that's the point. And so I can live with it. We've had extensive conversations about, you know, what the questions are we're trying to ask, and then it's up to the audience for their interpretation. And I think they're going to come away with a real thought-provoking experience, you know, thinking about their own lives and, you know, how they interact and, you know, with, you know, their family, their friends, and like in their religious community. So,
yeah. And now, obviously I'm trying to dance around because we don't want to spoil the movie. We don't want to talk too much about what's in there. So I'm trying to be very vague, very dance around some things. But obviously horror, you know, movies, they rely heavily on atmosphere and tension. I'm curious if there's any particular techniques or choices that you guys made that, you know, intentionally trying to make the most of the location and the work you had ahead of you.
Wait, can you kind of broke up there for a second? Can you repeat that question? So sorry.
Sure. Any of the techniques or just choices you made for creating a more chilling, suspenseful atmosphere?
Oh yeah. All right. So without giving away the opening, like suspense, right? It's like what how long is this going to go on before like the hammers drop, before I see it? Suspense is everything, like that build, that tension. That's what we were going for. And there we had, being an independent film, we had to pick moments in the film where we were able to do this and able to like really flex in like our horror game. All of our effects are practical. Like we're 95% practical in this movie, and audiences love that, and we love doing it. It's so much fun. Anything to add to that, Leroy?
Yeah, I think we knew that we were going to have Brent Kaiser, who did the sound for Everything Everywhere All at Once, do it. And so it was kind of like creating enough real estate within the scenes for Brent to do his thing, and to trust in Brent that he would make this stuff work with us, like maybe like setting up the pins almost.
And man, you guys are right on script, because my next question was literally talking about visual effects, practical versus CGI, but it's also another huge part of it, especially in horror, is sound design, right? Like just those suspenseful tones and just sounds that just send chills. So I'm curious if there were any specific influences or references that you used, whether it be visually or sound. I was gonna say no.
We've got several
auditory.
visual homages. We have several visual homages to a bunch of our favorite films, like The Shining and so on and so forth. But as far as sound, me and Leroy showed up with like manifesto of sound notes based when we had it for Lock Picture, and Brent was just like, oh yeah, okay. So Brent did Everything Everywhere All at Once. He does all the Daniels movies, Honey Boy. He's like the guy in the indie world. And that balanced with Isaac, who is like one of the most hot and upcoming cinematographers. He just did season 2 of Loki, which is gorgeous. We were put in a really good position. And yeah, the sound design is probably my favorite part of I can't say that, but it's one of my favorite parts of this overall process, because everything just comes to life. All of a sudden you get like all the hairs stand up on your arms when you get the right, like when you get the right whatever sound you're looking for in there, whether it's a hit or or whatever it may be. It's really exciting.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. And then obviously, speaking to like what we touched on a little bit, the practical versus CGI. I mean, obviously there's certain things, certain imagery you can't do practical, but relying more on what we can see, because as great as technology has come, I do feel like it does stand out when you do something that we all know is not physically in this world, and it's computer generated. What are the limitations when you're looking at a scene, certain characters, certain situations, where you go, okay, like where's the line between practical and CGI when you have to utilize it?
I would say it would be the budget. Like we want to do practical unless we have to. I still like CGI. All it can do is make it as good as it would be in real life. That's it, as good. So if you can do it practical, you want to do it practical. Like our opening scene, the reason why it's shot that way is because of budgetary limitations, and it ultimately makes it better. We have a shot that's going to be duplicated in other films, and it's the first time. I'm sure maybe someone's done it, but it's the first time I've seen it, and that all came out of necessity, and it came out of wanting to do things practical, not being able to afford all the different things that the script called for, and then we ended up with something far better than we could originally imagine, I'd say. Wouldn't you, Lee?
Yeah, I would say that when CGI, it's a little safe. It's almost like being on a roller coaster with the horror film rather than a practical effect. It can definitely needs to be aided with CGI, but then that has the capacity to get under the skin I think that we were real inspired by that Hereditary, not Hereditary, Midsommar. You know, when the guy jumps off the cliff and then he gets smashed in the head. It feels so visceral, real that if you did that with CGI, then it wouldn't feel you wouldn't feel it viscerally anymore. You'd only understand the idea of what was happening.
Yeah, that guy's dead. They killed him. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Great stuff.
That
great
was
stuff.
such a haunting moment. That moment lives with me. That was such a haunting moment.
So, again, I don't want to spoil anything. So in the trailer, which, we've played on our show and others, we see lots of different locations, a lot of snow covered settings. There's this great shot of what appears to be a cross, like dug out of the ground, filled with water. You're in it. I'm so fascinated by, I hate to say this, like the movie's great, but I'm more fascinated about the real world of like, that must be difficult to do, out in the elements, snow, water, dark. I mean, talk to us a little bit about just kind of, maybe the difficulties of working in those kind of conditions.
Well, Leroy, do you want
compare anything to what your audience probably encounters every day in their work, but like I had a taste of it in terms of going in the actual ice because it was in the middle of winter at night, and all the dream stuff was like kind of grounded in something like imagery that was real, and that's actually how Russian Eastern Orthodox, they get baptized. Sometimes they'll actually cut cross in the ice and they'll go get baptized. And we wanted to make it real. Again, if that was in a studio, it wouldn't have the same, effect unless I was actually in danger of dying myself.
that night it was 16 degrees below zero. We had to cut into 22 inches of ice. So ice baths and sauna is a big part of Estonian culture, and everybody on our crew, they all did it there. And then we had Steffi, who was Maria Vera's stunt double. She walked into the ice kind of like midriff, and everyone was like applauding. And then Leroy, it was a one shot and he was going to go under, and they were all like, no, this is a bad idea, you could die. You're not supposed to go, you're going to come out and be delusional. So prior to that shot, me and Leroy are going over it because we have a camera on a long jib tracking with him, and then he runs into the water and he goes under. And so we're going over the shot and getting everything ready. He's very focused, and then like his like very direct in everything he's saying and how he's speaking to me. When he runs, call action, he runs, he goes under, and then after he came up, it was like talking to someone that just got, like standing 8 count, like trying to get him back in the fight. Like it was dangerous. His whole family called me in the days lining up, like, can you talk him out of this? But he had trained for like, he trained.
It turned into 7 takes, and we keep them in there longer. And then Isaac is like, yo, dude, I think we got to stop this. I think
what stopped it is he goes under and comes up, and then we're resetting the camera. And I was like, we got to get the camera, the underwater housing, and push in on him. And he goes, he puts his hair and he goes like that, and it breaks off, and he's like, crew, my hair's breaking off. And so we had to cut. He can take it. He's tough. He can take it.
I mean, I've got no words. That's man, good on you. Is that all whatever it takes for the shot, I guess, because I don't know. I would not be willing to do that. So fear obviously is subjective, right? Everybody, what scares them is different things, different people. What do you guys hope will be the most unsettling or kind of thought-provoking aspect of the film that you're going to leave with the audience?
I think it's existential terror, isn't that, crew? Like that's kind of what we're going for. We want to have some of the jump scares, but that's like, doesn't stick with you the same way of,
I think the jump scares and the tension that we have throughout the film is like the vehicle for the existential, like thought-provoking experience you'll have. That's the idea.
Yeah. You want people talking about the film versus any specific moment in it, more of the theme behind it, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Okay.
definitely jump scares in there, and they'll love that. There's definitely some, we stay true to the genre for sure.
Yeah. You know, there's something for obviously there are many horror films. We touched on a few of them that, you know, have your more classic, you know, killer or this kind of external evil that's kind of chasing, you know, our the victims. And this is something very different. I'm just curious, along the way, was there ever a thought or a conversation of having something more, I guess, more external, like an outside evil force besides what's there in the priests and the secret organizations and things?
I think, yeah, we tried really hard to kind of to put it that the evil comes from within a lot more, and that crew referenced possession too, about how to make that this possession would be like if a demonic like this, the devil or these demons would be able to get in there and kind of only influence you so much. You know, you wouldn't be able to take over your entire body. It's like usually like based in something really traumatic happens to you, and I don't want to give away, but when something happens to Father Fox particularly, it's when you're able to then run with what's already there and then work with it.
Nice.
We had that, like,
Yeah.
to echo your question, Michael. We had that was a conversation at the top. It's like there's a balance there, you know. It's what's within versus, you know, Father Saul from the Vox Day, played by Thomas Kretschmann, who is, I mean, just one look at him and you know that he's, you know, antagonist material. Like, but yeah, I think what Lee said is pretty spot on.
Yeah. So the horror genre has obviously evolved over so many years of it since it's been around. How do you see your film kind of contributing to that evolution of horror cinema?
What a great question. I think wow, I think taking biblical themes, like I said, and is something I think, you know, we're seeing a lot of right now. But what we're doing different is, you know, grounding it in authenticity. I think that's something after this that'll continue. You know, I think The Witch and did a really good job of just that, not biblical themes, but taking something we're all familiar with and then, you know, grounding it in reality. I think that's something that'll continue. I'm sure there's tons more we could add to that. It's just I haven't heard this question. It's a really good question. I'd probably think on this a while. Leroy, what do you think?
To button up yours, I kind of like, I think the campiness of like The Nun, if you take some of those ideas and then try to bring them back into reality, I think that like that's something that we tried to do. But also more so just trying to actually make a Christian horror film that isn't that could be a little more open to mainstream audiences, at least the ideas behind it. Yeah. One journalist told me he thought it might, like, it's called hopeful horror. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I like that.
I like
You
that.
heard
That's
it here first, folks. You heard
I
it
like
here
that.
first.
I like
Hopeful
that.
horror.
We're gonna set a new subgenre, hopeful horror. And actually something you said earlier just triggered a thought in that we were talking about kind of the ice baths, right? And I said, you know, man, it's such a hot thing right now. We're seeing, you know, all these celebrities and all these people do the ice baths, and it's almost going to appear as if like, oh, these guys hopped on the trend, when really you guys did this way back. You know, if anything, you started the trend of bringing the ice baths here. So kudos to you for that, because that's are you still dabbling in the ice baths? Because that stuff is hardcore.
It is hardcore. I need to, because I'm not going to lie, it works, but I had a reason to do it every day so I wouldn't go into cardiac arrest. I don't have that same kind of motivation, but I will say I felt the best I ever did. It definitely like cut me up. Apparently you burn a lot more calories doing that than you do from a workout. So yeah.
I started doing it this year, and it is brutal. They say it doesn't get easier. It's like every single time it's a nightmare. And then the rest of your day, you feel amazing. But before you do it, it doesn't get any easier. Like, I don't want to do it. I definitely don't want to do it.
It's like jumping out of a plane. It's the anxiety almost overrides the actual act of it. It bothers me. We're getting close to time here, so a couple more. Are there any? I guess such a weird thing to fish for, but any interesting stories, things behind the scenes, any challenges, or just funny? Because you got to know, like, to make this come alive, you spend so much time together. You're in the thick of it. You're practically dying to make this film. So I got to imagine a lot of silly things are going on behind the scenes to just break the tension sometimes.
I mean, top of the head, it's just the wolves working with these. They're not dogs. Like what they say, it's not. They are very big, very intimidating, and very beautiful. And it was a night shoot, and below zero. And I love dogs, but I did not feel comfortable around these animals. And then Leroy's just prancing around, like walking right up to them as they're in this in this vicious state, which I'm sure Leroy could add about what that state actually is, but I didn't know at the time. But yeah, seeing them, my fear and Isaac's fear about what he was doing, but him being so calm about it, made for a very interesting night. And then what came out was ultimately one of my favorite scenes, but it was pretty terrifying. But yeah, anything to add to that, Leroy?
No, it was cool. I mean, that's I have my favorite is when you can see the behind the scenes of it, how long I am like 5 feet from this wolf, and he's like guarding his meat, and I'm yelling at him, and all 5 of them are like looking like they're gonna attack me, and the trainer behind him was like, "No, it's okay." He just kept whispering in my ear, "No, it's okay. You're not gonna die. It's okay. I got it."
So you got to be the alpha. Be the alpha. Yeah, I'm gonna be the alpha.
Yeah, there's like
or if you're not, you're dead. If you're not, but okay. Zoltan the Wolfman was like this mythic figure himself. He like does all the animal training and for like a lot of European films. But like the first day we show up, or like that day when we show up to set, we ride up and he's got like a almost like a kennel truck, and he opens it. And I don't know if it was a gag, but he opens it, and then all of a sudden these wolves jump down and just attack him. And they're ripping pieces of his what it looks like flesh, but he had meat. He had meat tied to his body to simulate what we were going to have happen in the movie. And then I'm like, there's like 2 kind of people, how you handle that situation. One of them's like you run for help, or you run to help, and the other one's like you scream for help. And that wasn't a proud moment for me.
I like it. That's great. So as we wrap this thing up, I'm curious. Obviously, the focus is putting this out there. I know it's played. Was it Popcorn Festival or something like that? What's the early feedback you're getting? I mean, what are you thinking about the audience reaction so far?
Yeah,
loving it.
Yeah, so far it's going really good. It's a huge relief.
Yeah, you never know how people are gonna take something, especially like dealing with such controversial themes, like biblical themes. But so far, like our reviews that have come back have been amazing, like way more than we could ever, it's what we hope for, but you don't really know. Like being considered one of the best horror movies of the year right out the gate is like, that's not to be taken lightly. That's a hell of an honor.
Yeah, and it's a crowded arena. It's starting to get a little more crowded than it maybe used to be. But I can say that I sat down and I watched an early review copy of it, and while I'm not the biggest horror aficionado, I really enjoyed it, and I made sure I hand selected a few good friends who are all about horror, and they really got a kick out of it, and everyone got their own little elements from it that they really liked. And I don't want to I keep wanting to say specific things, but I can't. Can't talk about it. But needless to say, it's very enjoyable. It's left ambiguous at best. I can say, I think. And could there be sequels? Could there be an expanding universe being built here?
Definitely. We already have it's basically planned as a trilogy, at least. Because like I something that's so interesting is to explore them when they're 12 years old, and then especially when they're 30 years old, when it like really goes down. So we wanted to have the story be as self-contained as possible. And then even the second film, it's like we approach that, it's going to be a self-contained film that deals with that picks up as that backstory. And maybe even a prequel that it explores Vox Day that was like 1,000 years in the past.
Yeah, I mean it's rife for further digging into and expanding, and I sometimes think too, just not forward and back, maybe side to side, right? Exploring other parts of this universe, of this world you've built outside of those elements. If you need a guy, we'll hammer out some details, and it's fine. I got some ideas for you guys, so we'll work that out. But before I let you go, anything so besides this and the sequel, anything else that we could look forward to? Any other projects or anything maybe in the back catalog you want to shout out so people should go check out?
Well, actually, we have a movie that comes out next called Devil's Fruit, and it's a revenge drama that's filmed over 12 years across 16 different countries, and it's like our version of Boyhood, but with more violence and I guess you'd say like criminal behavior. But yeah, that Leroy wrote and directed that, and we starred in it, and I edited it, and that was kind of our coming of age as far as developing as filmmakers in order to get to be able to do something like this movie.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Well, I'm all about a good revenge flick, so I will be looking for that, and hopefully we can talk about that when it finally comes out. I'd love to have you guys back and dive more into your work and and things. But I want to thank you guys for your time so much. I'll give you the last couple seconds to, I don't know, say goodbye to the audience that are watching this.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening. I mean,
yeah, see Deliver Us September 29th out in theaters in select cities and on demand and Apple and Amazon Prime and everywhere else you can see a movie. September 29th. Go see it. Come
Awesome.
support.
That's
military, it's all military.
Sorry.
It's all military.
Yeah.
Oh, well then absolutely. Thank you guys for your service. I mean, you guys are the best. I was cursed. Yeah. Really.
Thank you. Really. Thank you for your service. Everyone.
Absolute gratitude.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate it. I've had the pleasure of speaking with co-directors Crew Ennis and Leroy Kunz. Thank you guys so much, and we look forward to seeing more work from you guys in the future.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, you there? Yeah, it is right, you. Let me ask you something, right? Where the hell do you think that you're going? Oh, would you think because the show's going to commercial that means you get to just walk away? Well, CQ asked me to pass on the little message, alright? And it says, I'll be back.
After all I've done, do you love me now? Do you love me now? After all I've said, running through your head, do you love me now? Do you love me now?
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, what's up, party people? We're back. That was the awesome interview we had late last week, early this week. I don't know. I'm so lost in where we are in the week at this point. I know it's Tuesday night. The lights on, little red thing, little red dot flashing lets me know we're live. That means it's Tuesday night. So I know it is Tuesday night. But that was the incredible crew, Ennis and Leroy Kunz, the co-directors, producers, writers, actors of Deliver Us, the latest horror movie out, currently in theaters and on demand. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I hope so. With that, we've reached the end of tonight's programming. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, for watching, all of you loyal, amazing people out there that make this so much fun. We are in the midst of, here at Pop Culture Warrior, just preparations. I am swamped. So much is coming. So much is coming. Winter is coming. But so much is coming. So not this weekend, but the following weekend, we will be live at New York Comic Con. I'll be heading up there Thursday and be there through the end of the convention, Sunday afternoon. I think it ends Sunday night. So it's 4 days of coverage of New York Comic Con. There is so much. So much. I mean, I have hundreds of emails at this point about all the things we're going to be doing there. We've been very fortunate to be invited to panels, to the Step and Repeats, for those that remember, interviews, previews, behind the scenes guided tours. We'll be in the press box. I mean, there's so much. There's so much. If you like comics, if you like books, if you like toys, if you like collectibles, if you like TV shows, if you like anime, if you like cartoons, we've got it all absolutely covered. It's wall to wall. Like, it got to a point where I've started having to say no to people just because they're like, "Hey, would you want to come around and come talk to us?" And I can't. I'm 4 days and it's not enough time. Not enough time. So I'm tirelessly preparing what is going to be an incredibly packed schedule. If you guys have anything that specifically you want covered, let me know and I will make it a priority. If there's a show, if there's a comic, if there's a book, if there's a collection, a toy line, anything specifically that you'd like to see what they've got going on there at New York Comic Con, let me know. I will prioritize that. I will film it and I'll get it out there. It's gonna be just wild. And then literally I come back from that, and then a couple days later I fly out to California because I'm going to take a well-deserved break and go surfing and ATVing through the sands of the California beaches. Yeah, I'm gonna need that vacation. But yeah, other than that, we got lots coming up. Don't forget, guys, this year Halloween falls on a Tuesday, so that means the annual Pop Culture Warrior Spooktacular is going to be even more fun than usual. We will be in costume. Still need you guys to send me your pictures of your costumes, of your decorated homes, of your decorated cars for a trunk or treat, anything you want rated and commented on, and maybe win fabulous prizes, because we do that kind of thing around here. Every year we like to celebrate people's ingenuity in costumes and creativities. So that'll be fun. And yeah, and then we got the holidays rolling around. So it's gonna be busy. It's gonna be busy. And I anticipate coming out of New York Comic Con that we will have a very jam-packed schedule of interviews, post convention, because there's just so many people that are like, hey, let's come do an interview, and I'm just like, I don't have the time. So we'll post convention, we'll be doing interviews as well. But needless to say, lots coming. Very excited, and yeah, I'm excited, man. If it doesn't look like I'm excited, I'm just a little under the weather. So I'm actually very excited. I'm thrilled and excited. And New York Comic Con is one of my favorite events every year. And this year to be going, representing WTF Nation Radio, and as a full member of the press, which is only afforded to me because of you fine listeners out there. I appreciate you. And yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited. So with that said, quick promo. Not like you guys don't already know, but quick shout out to all the other shows here at WTF Nation Radio. Sundays, King and Coach have the sports bar with all your sportsy stuff, all your foosballs and your whatchamanots. They're there at the sports bar. And just throwing it out there that I dominated in the Listeners League this week, the WTF Nation Radio Listeners League Fantasy Football. I dominated, and you can anticipate to see more domination in the weeks ahead. Mondays is Ice and Massey. Congratulations to Massey, who's now the official co-host of the Monday edition. So Ice and Massey have everything for you in news, commentary, and discussion about all the things happening around the world. Brings us to Tuesdays right here with myself and my now confirmed co-host, Mr. Mad Mike, here at Pop Culture Warrior on Tuesdays. You know what it is. We appreciate you. Wednesdays, we've got Radar and TZ on the Smoke Pit, giving you all them E4 and below shenanigans. It's just a cool place to hang out. They're just dope people. They have a good time. I like this show. Thursdays is Ice and Spanky at Sergeant's Time. It's the opposite of the sports bar, the Smoke Pit. That's your all your happenings in the military, all your quintessential E5 and above, and keeping an eye on what's happening in the military. Friday nights is Friday Night Freedom with Kaz and Pookie. That's your that's where you end the week. You know, that's where you enjoy all the finer things and enjoy them. I don't know if you can hear it. I am completely just congested. But thank you guys for tuning in, watching. We appreciate you. As always, we've had a blast. Looking forward to more awesome content coming forward. And yeah, it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. Lots to be good. From Scott, I don't want to get too political, but maybe the issue with censorship of content creators in Canada. Some of my Canadian friends seem to tell me they are worried, but I'm not too familiar with what's going on, but it's kind of pop culture relevant. I'll tell you what, Scott, I don't know anything about that, but because it's important to you, I will dig into it. I'll research it. If I find anything truly shocking, maybe I'll just post it up as content on the Pop Culture Warrior Facebook page or one of the pages. And if not, we'll talk about it next week. I always look forward to learning new things and then being able to share it with you guys. So absolutely, I see your comment. I will save it and I will circle back to it. But I am completely congesting and need to go take some type of Theraflu or something before I completely lose my voice. Thank you guys for hanging out and chilling with us. Appreciate you all. And we'll see you next week. Shots.
Doc! Oh no! We're too late! We missed it! Oh, jeez, this is heavy. Wait a minute, Doc, I got a time machine. I'm just gonna punch in the coordinates. Pop Culture Warrior, Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on WTF Nation Radio. Now crank this bad boy up to 88 miles per hour.
Let's see it.